So I'm here with Kush, co-founder of Kitu Kali, Kenyan-based fashion brand. So we've been working or partnering together for the last 6 months, I believe, right? I think we started working together in March 23.
Yeah,
So at the time
yeah,
of recording, yeah, it's been about 6 months. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to, well, first of all, thanks a lot for joining me, Kush. I appreciate it. And yeah, I just wanted to get your views on your experience working with Click Hive, how you found it, so other people in a similar situation to yourself can possibly learn from it and figure out whether it's a good choice for them as well. So let's start at the really beginning. How we kind of started working together in the first place. Because as we know, especially you definitely know it as an e-commerce owner, there's just so much choice out there when it comes to marketing agencies, freelancers, everybody claiming they're, gurus and experts, and it's definitely a jungle out there. So I was curious to kind of ask you, like, what was it that made you decide to sort of work with us in the first place? And how did you come, across us actually, for those who are not familiar?
yeah, sure. So I think I was somehow following you on LinkedIn through maybe common connections, and then I would follow your posts, and I thought that a lot of the posts that you posted was very relevant to some of the challenges that we were going through at the time. And I do get people doing a lot of cold outreach to us, and I'm quite open in giving people the opportunity to sort of say what they do and describe their services. But I never really move forward after the first call with most people I speak to, because you can just tell that they're just in it to get that first payment in and then just hand you off to a team and that's it, kind of thing. You can just tell straight away. And I've dealt with a lot of agencies in the past, but I think when we chatted on the first call, I think you were quite straightforward and honest about what you guys can provide, what you guys do provide, how you do it. You were very clear on the process, on the onboarding process, and the ongoing engagement with me or with the brand. And I like the fact that you are quite open to, the fee model, the structure of how we work together in terms of, the retainer and so on, and how we pay you. And that's always a good sign to someone who truly understands what they can provide and the value they can provide, and as opposed to just getting a client in, handing them off, and that's it, just a numbers game. So that's the reason why we decided that we'll continue the conversation with you guys from the initial one, and then obviously we got onboarded and we're here now.
Okay, nice. Good to hear. Good to hear that, content that's being pushed out on LinkedIn is actually useful to people. Because sometimes it feels like, you don't know if anybody's actually reading this content or if people actually look at it. But, you saying that you actually followed it, it was kind of covering the challenges that you guys had is definitely good feedback. So I appreciate it. And like you said, with the fee models, I think I also agree it's very important that it has to be kind of a win-win situation, right? It has to, appreciate the challenges of both sides and not just the agency, whatever works for them. It has to work for the client. So yeah, I was definitely happy we managed to find a setup that
Yeah.
works for both of us. So then yeah, so transitioning into onboarding, how did you find the process? What was good? What could have been improved about the onboarding process once we kind of agreed how we're going to go forward?
Yeah, I must admit, I don't actually remember a lot about the onboarding
I
process,
think that's
but I don't
probably a good thing.
remember it, which is a good thing. Yeah, I don't remember it being like cumbersome and a lot of forms to fill in and a lot of things to do. And it was quite straightforward from what I remember. And I had to do some cleanup on my end in terms of content and adding you to things. And that's just the standard procedure that I knew I had to go through anyway. And so that was fine. So yeah, I don't think there was any problems with the onboarding. It was quite clear. We got onto the Slack channel, and the communication on there was very clear. You added me to the team channel, and I was clear on who does what and who's responsible for the content, for the copywriting, for the campaigns, and so on. So I would say, yeah, quite a smooth onboarding process, and didn't require too much of my time,
All
which
right,
is
okay.
good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you don't remember the onboarding process, I think that's the best sign. I mean, I'm glad there
Yeah,
was no nightmares haunting you about, a million things you had to
yeah,
do. So glad
yeah.
to hear that. Okay, then moving on to the actual, service delivery that we provided for you guys. One of our sort of main pillars of service delivery is that we provide the ad creative and that we're fully responsible for it. I think it is quite critical for the people that are running the ads to be actually providing the creative. Otherwise, we're just sitting around, waiting for you guys to provide it. But obviously, you've got other stuff to do, then don't worry about the ad creative. So I wanted to ask you your thoughts on the ad creative process, but sort of most importantly, what did you think of the ad creative that we provided for you guys?
Yeah, no, I think in the beginning there was a sort of transition period to understanding how Kenyans, because we're obviously in a very different market than the European or the US market, and it took a couple of tries for the team to understand the language and how we localize stuff locally. But the team picked it up very quickly, I must say. And from the first two times that I gave my feedback, I think after that, I was not saying change this, change that, maybe a few minor things here and there. But I liked the fact that, you separated the copy and the creative because each of those are equally important in the ad campaign. And then, I would approve the copy and approve the creative separately. And that was good. And everything was well structured in the Slack channel. So I could just go in and say, yeah, this or change that. Um, so yeah, no, I liked the creativity. A lot of the ad creative, in the past when I've worked with previously with different agencies, it's kind of just a lift and shift, take it
Mm.
from a website or from Instagram and just push it onto an ad and hope that it works. But I like the fact that you guys actually tailored it and created nice graphics using the main products as the sort of focus of the creative, but adding, hooks and hints and colors. And so I think the graphic design was very, very good on the creatives, I must say.
All right, great. Glad to hear that. I will definitely pass the positive feedback on to Myrna. She was the one
Yeah.
responsible for it. And likewise, it was a very smooth process. Like the approval process with you was very smooth. Is because we always knew like if we're gonna send stuff to Kush, he's not gonna like send us a
Yeah.
million comments and say, "Oh, do this or this." So I think you're very. I would definitely appreciate that when clients are open to ideas and trying new angles and not just having a predefined view on what they think is going to work. Because yeah, of course, I mean they know the brand, it can sometimes work, but it's you always have to try new things, right? Because you never know what's going to work. A new ad
Absolutely.
concept could really just blow it off the water.
Yeah.
Um, a very short question about communication. We're going to go into too much detail about this, but it's we do see it as an important thing as an agency to communicate effectively with clients. It can sometimes be a challenge when there's a lot of conversations going. So we do try and answer people in a timely manner. What was your experience with that? Like, how did you find our communication?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, the Slack channel. So I'm not used to Slack generally. Then that's why sometimes my responses were delayed or I would forget. I'm quite used to WhatsApp as a channel, and I think in Kenya it's very widely used with clients. You add groups and you communicate through there. But I was happy to do it through Slack, and I think from your side, once I was asking questions or giving my feedback, the communication was very fast and the iterations were fast. Maybe sometimes some of the campaigns, which I understand take some time to set up, and the creatives take some time to set up. Maybe that takes a couple of days, which is okay, but maybe could be speeded up a bit quicker so that we're getting campaigns live quicker. But wasn't a big issue, to be honest. The communication was fine.
Okay, perfect. Glad to hear that. And yeah, definitely we're always constantly actively trying to speed up the process and reiterate things and make it more efficient. But it's ongoing work in progress. But happy to hear that you were kind of satisfied with it. Anyway, things like communication and onboarding and presentation, that's all important stuff, but at the end of the day, you kind of both you and me know that e-commerce is all about results, right? So I wanted to ask you, yeah, how did you find the results that we brought for you as a performance agency?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I mean, like I've mentioned to you, we have a lot of improvement that we need to do on the website to improve the conversion. But from a driving traffic, driving quality traffic perspective, I think that worked well, and we saw good increases in performance where the market was favorable and where we had enough stock on certain products. And a lot of it is on the client side to make sure that we have the certain things in place, like stock, and our website is working and our payment gateways are working. So where all of that was favorable, I think we did really well. Naturally, certain events like back to school and slowdown and political challenges in the country as well, being in Africa, brought few days of slow performance and lower orders. But again, I don't think it's a reflection of the campaigns. I think the campaigns were doing what it's supposed to do. It's just certain times things were not favorable for us. But no, I was happy overall. I think I was happy in that I didn't have to do much, and that's what I would expect from an agency if I'm outsourcing the entire process. Is I don't have to be too involved. I don't have to keep questioning things. I just have to trust that you guys are looking at it, optimizing, checking the data, and working on the campaigns and coming up with new creatives, which is exactly what you guys were doing. So yeah, I was quite happy with that.
Yeah, I guess exactly. If you're paying an agency, you expect them to be, self-sufficient, and that's the difference. If you're paying a freelancer, you kind of expect you don't have to manage them. But as an agency, there's a whole team. That's what they do day in, day out. So, they should be self-sufficient. So I'm glad that that was your experience, and that's how you found it. Um,
Definitely.
was there anything surprising about working with us?
Um, No, I mean, I think the surprising thing, which I've mentioned already, is the fact that I was quite hands off.
Mhm.
I typically am very hands on and following up, and where's this and where's that, and can we do this, can we do that? But I was not doing a lot of that, which was surprising and good, surprising in a good way. But
Mhm.
yeah, nothing surprising in a bad way.
Okay, glad to hear that. How would you compare us to working? How would you compare your experience working with us compared to maybe some other agencies or freelancers that you worked with in the past?
Yeah, I mean, obviously very positive. I think it's been a better engagement with you guys. And I liked the fact that, which I haven't mentioned before, but I like the fact that you're not too aggressive in terms of ad spend. You guys take it slow, and because you have to be mindful of the client's ad spend. And I like that, because what I've seen in the past is agencies creating campaigns and saying we need to up ad spend 10x, and we're before I know it, from spending £50 a day, I'm spending £500 a day. And sometimes campaigns worked, but sometimes it wasn't working. And within 3 or 4 days, I'm two grand down with 0.2x ROAS, and it's just not a great situation. And I like the fact that you guys took it step by step and weren't too aggressive, and you understood that the website and other stock challenges were in place, so you didn't push me to up the ad spend. In fact, I was saying let's up the ad spend at certain points, but I quite liked that. So yeah, I don't have anything negative compared to some of the other agencies that I've worked with.
Yeah, I guess the last thing you want to be up at night, wondering if your ad
Yeah,
spend is literally being burnt. So
yeah.
I think
I
it's
mean,
always better.
literally in the past, it would be it would be hard to sleep, because I know that overnight I'll be spending 200-300 pounds, and in the morning, if I wake up with no Shopify notifications, I'm like, shit, what the hell's
Yeah,
going on? So
yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I enjoyed that part.
Good, good. Yeah, it's definitely better to err on the side of caution for sure. Especially in a sort of a new partnership where you just don't really know what to expect. And then, later on then you always feel more comfortable as a business owner to up the spend. yeah, just one last final question for you, Kush. What would you say to sort of a fellow e-commerce owner who maybe consider working with Click Hive, but is on the fence? What would be sort of your honest um opinion, from an e-commerce owner to an e-commerce owner?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, definitely get your own house in order first before you outsource it to an agency. Make sure you have your website is good, your UI UX is good, your stock levels are good, and then definitely ClickHive would be one that you should trial and see and work with. And like yourself, you're very flexible in approach and how the fee structure, how the fees is structured and everything. And just if you're on the edge because of fees, then just have an open conversation with yourself. And I'm sure you guys, like we did, we came up with a great model that works for both of us. So I'm sure you definitely come up with something that works for both of you, and go for it. I wouldn't say that there's any concerns or anything negative I've found with working with Click Hive, and it's definitely been a good experience. So I would definitely say to give it a go.
Great. No, thank you so much for the kind words. And likewise, it's been a pleasure working with you. I think you've been a very sort of effortless client to work with, which we definitely do appreciate because it's not a given. Some people
Yeah,
can be a bit
yeah,
tricky, but that's definitely not the case with you. So yeah,
I
I mean,
appreciate it.
again, thanks so much for answering all the questions, and I appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, I mean, we will definitely be staying in touch. So thanks again.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, Christoph. I appreciate that, man.